Hello, everyone, and welcome to Module 6, Week 6. Before we jump into the module overview, I'd like to back up and discuss a little more in depth in regards to theorist behavior. Now, last week, your discussion board asked you to indicate what type of fuel each theorist would say drives their behavior, right? So we talked about Freud, Erikson, Piaget, Vygotsky, Kohlberg, Skinner, Watson, and Maslow. So I took some notes in regards to this particular assignment. I wanted to kind of go over it because this really is fundamental. We have to have a good knowledge base of these theorists that are mentioned within this chapter. So I had taken some notes. So basically, each theorist looks at driving forces behind their behavior through various stages of human development. So beginning with Freud, for example, is controversial psychosexual development theory states that we are driven by our ego, right? So this explores the need to diffuse tension or satisfaction pleasures, which he believes is to be driven by sex. Um, One specific example is when an infant is in the early stages, the first stages, which is oral, that the child is motivated to satisfy their needs by contact with external stimuli being within their mouth. The baby sucks to soothe themselves for feeding, and as for the only way to explore limited sensory stimulation in their environment. And then next is Erikson. Now, Erikson's work, we look through a development under the psychosocial perspective. And everyone goes through a series of 8 stages as they explore the world around them through social interactions. So, societal influences is what is believed to have a major contribution to this behavior. In the case of a child trying to resolve conflict in the second stage of, for instance, autonomy versus shame and doubt, they must master learning a sense of self, a sense of autonomy, and avoid shameful accidents that may diminish their independence. So, with the help of a trusted adult, a child could be motivated to properly, for instance, be toilet trained and minimize accidents to strengthen their ego and successfully move into the next stage, which is initiative versus guilt. And then Piaget looks at child development through 4 stages, where in each stage a child's intelligence becomes more complex and more sophisticated. A child is curious and learns by engagement within their environment. He explains how children think differently depending on the knowledge they have acquired, becoming more logical later in life. Behavior driven by biological changes through growth has influenced by the environment in which a child adapts their knowledge from, which is development of thoughts. Therefore, children fit new information into their existing foundation of knowledge and learn to adapt in different situations to strike a balance in their understanding of the world. Contrast to these views, we jump into Skinner and Watson. Now, Skinner and Watson emphasize how external factors seem to motivate human behavior. A child is then thought to be extrinsically motivated by positive, negative reinforcements as opposite to intrinsic ones. For example, here at school, in school environments, some schools utilize star cards for successfully completing work at school. These cards can be redeemed possibly for a toy, or maybe in the younger classes, they have a positive color chart, and they utilize that as a behavior chart, right? And that is more of other children seeing them at the top rather than intrinsically them doing for themselves. It's always a reward system, right? And then lastly, Manslow hierarchy of needs moves from the bottom up through 5 different tiers. So human development is driven by the need to move up each level and achieve self-actualization. Similar to Erikson, the individual must successfully complete one stage to the best of their ability to avoid stagnation. The most basic of needs is psychological survival. A person needs nourishment, shelter, and overall self-care to function. A child at the bare minimum needs to have these basic needs met by an adult in their life. And it always starts off at the lower level and we move up. According to Manslow, if something traumatic happens in your life, you can definitely move back down and you have to start all over again to move yourself up in these different 5 tiers. So I wanted you to have a little bit of a foundation in regards to these theorists. Again, when you're in early childhood, it's very important to have a great foundation with these different theorists. So jumping into Module 6, this week you're going to read our textbook of Chapter 6. And again, you want to look over these great learning opportunities and make sure you understand these, understand what you're looking for prior to reading. So you're going to be looking over characteristics and uses of a frequency count, right? And you're going to discuss core emotions and how they are displayed at different developmental levels, along with generating strategies that a teacher can use to provide an emotionally secure environment in the classroom or group. Also, we'll be looking at behaviors at various ages that give concern about emotional development. So once you're done reading Chapter 6, you should be able to have a great knowledge base of these 4 bullet points. SLOs this week, we'll be hitting 2, again, looking at observation and assessment tools through this frequency count. You'll also be utilizing data to be able to take that strategies a teacher can use to provide that secure environment within the classroom and create curriculum and design the overall interactions for the classroom. And to be successful in this module, you want to make sure to watch this video, which you are. You want to read Chapter 6. You want to view all the videos that I've embedded for you within Module 6 and the PowerPoints for the chapter. You're going to complete the quiz by Friday, 3/18 by 11:59 p.m. And just like every week, you have 2 attempts and the highest score is kept and logged for you. Your discussion board this week is emotional difficulties. And before we jump into that, I want to make sure you understand the original thread is due by the 16th, Wednesday the 16th. 2 peer posts are due by Friday the 18th, just like every single week. And your original is due by the 16th to receive any portion of this discussion. And again, you want to make sure to post both of your peer posts and your original on different days of the week for full credit. Again, there's the original post and 2 peer posts. That's 3 days. I want to make sure you are posting 3 separate days. You'll continue to work on your observation 1, which is due the 19th. And you basically take the notes that you were given this last week from your peer review and look things over and update your assignment. And then you'll be able to submit your final by the 19th at 11:59. So jumping back to your discussion board is emotional difficulties. What I'd like you to, after your reading this week, make sure you read the Chapter 6. With each of the following emotional difficulties, how would you respond? I want to know about how you would respond. So a continued crying child, how are you going to respond to that? So a child that is social withdrawn and not speaking. An extremely hostile aggression shown in a child. So how would you respond to that? And then extreme fearfulness. So all 4 of those, I want to see how you would respond. And that is it for the week. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. If not, I look forward to seeing you the 26th is the next time we meet, and we're going to be talking about observation 2 in depth. You want to make sure you're there. If you have any questions in regards to anything within Module 6, including the submission of your observation, please do feel free to email me. We can set up a Zoom call if one is needed. If not, I will get back to you as soon as possible to your emails. Have a fantastic day, and I hope you're enjoying not having to wear your masks anymore, at least not mandated, right? Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week.